All right, welcome back to Celtics Post Up. Brad Stevens named the NBA's Executive of the Year. Since moving from the bench to the front office, Stevens has acquired Derrick White, Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday, and that's all over the past 2+ seasons. He received 16 first-place votes. No one else got more than 4. Of course, this award is voted on by other executives around the league. Well-deserved, and nice to see the Celtics represented in some of these awards. And that's going to lead us right into Forsberg's floor. Chris?
I mean, you can tell what the topic is right here. It's all Brad all the time. In fact, I was looking at that voting. I think there were 3 teams that didn't vote for Brad, 3 executives. And jealousy is a stinky cologne. My job here today is.
You want to call them out, by the way? Or you...
I started going through the teams. I was like, who was that? Who? You know, I think we can make some guesses based on Eastern Conference. Pat Riley, looking at you. But this award isn't just, it's given for one season, but it's really for the duration of like what you're building, right? And since Brad took over, he's taken a great base that Danny Ainge delivered him and has been able to work around the fringes and make some big swings that have delivered to the Celtics to what we think is a championship level. So that's what I want to start with. Number 1 in this week's Forsberg's 4 is the bold decisions that Brad Stevens has made. From the first days on the job, goes out and trades Kemba Walker. My dog is named Kemba, near and dear to my heart. UConn fans out there as well. Tough move to make because Brad loved Kemba but understood. Roster needed some changeover, goes and gets Al Horford. Fast forward to this offseason. What do now? They go out and they acquire Drew Holiday, trading away yet again, breaking my heart with Robert Williams going out, also adding Kristaps Porzingis in Marcus Smart going out. We wondered if Brad would be bold enough to trade some of the best pieces or some of his favorite pieces that played for him. And he showed in this job, you have to be a little bit ruthless. You have to set aside emotion, and Brad has been able to do that.
He has, although there was some emotion. You could feel it when he was at the podium after trading away Marcus Smart. So when you talk about bold decisions, bold moves, that one to me feels like the boldest. Where are we going? Number 2.
Boldest was Robert Williams, not Hurt.
Oh, that's a personal thing, I think, there.
Number 2 is the Derrick White theft. I think Brad Stevens should be in jail for larceny because you cannot make a trade like this and not be a little bit suspect in this league, because look what they gave up. Josh Richardson. Blake Wesley was the draft pick that they ended up giving up. Romeo Langford, not even sure if he's still in the league. And a 2028 pick swap, which hilariously people have still fretted. Like, oh, well, what if that's like a really good pick? Yeah, don't worry about it. They're going to be pretty good till 2028. The bigger question is making sure Derrick White is locked up long term. We're doing this coming off of Game 4 where Derrick White was otherworldly on both sides of the floor. I still can't believe they were able to acquire this player, someone that fits so seamlessly. And it was great because I think Brad looked at it and said, that is exactly the type of player that could thrive in this situation. And boy, has he.
Yeah, no, incredible foresight there. And as you put it, just like he's grown into that role and gives them exactly what they need on any given night. Sometimes it's 38 points. What do you got for number 3?
And lockdown defense on the other side. I mean, he has just been great. 4 years, $122 million, by the way, if he wants to sign an extension this summer, which Brad Stevens will be presenting to him. And that's where we're going with number 3. It's all the extensions that Brad Stevens has done since taking over this job. If you remember, Danny Ainge was notorious for not wanting to give extension on rookie deals. You know, it was probably a little bit harder to sift through with those. And there were different rules in some instances as well. But Brad, boy, he's addicted to extensions. Can't stop, won't stop. Marcus Smart, Robert Williams, Josh Richardson, Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis, Jaylen Brown, Peyton Pritchard, Drew Holiday. Then, you know, if things work out this summer, you'll get another Jason Tatum extension. You'll get Derrick White, and maybe even Sam Hauser. Some of those will be a little bit difficult because the payroll is going up in a hurry around here. But Brad has understood, like, not only does it give the player security, not only does it give your team security based on having these guys under contract long term, but even if you don't have a player in your long-term vision, they are trade assets. So you can trade a guy to go get a Derrick White. You can trade a Robert Williams on a friendly deal now to go get a Drew Holiday. So it's having that foresight to understand that at the right price, there isn't a bad extension out there.
Yeah, and the Robert Williams one, I think, really sticks to mind when we talk about guys who had the value that you could also potentially trade later on. Not to bring that back up, but also, I think it speaks to guys wanting to be here as well.
I like where your head's at, except that you keep mentioning Robert Williams, and it's hurtful. So I'm going to go right on to number 4, which is the other thing Brad has been very good at in this job, and that's hiring coaches. So he had to pick his own replacement, which is weird. You don't usually get to do that in business of any sorts. But understanding what this team lacked, he goes out there and adds Ime Udoka. The Celtics go to the NBA Finals that first season, needs to make a change a year later. Determines that Joe Mazzulla, an unproven second-row coach would be the guy that could best lead this team forward. They got to the doorstep of the finals last year. We'll see what happens this year. You feel pretty good about their chances, but I think Ime was 4th in Coach of the Year voting. Joe was 3rd last year. Joe was 4th this year. Pretty good swings here by Brad Stevens, knowing what the team needs. And this is what it all comes back to for me, Giles. Talking to Al Horford a couple weeks ago, he says, like, Brad looked at this team and he knew what they needed in terms of personnel, in terms of the voices that he couldn't offer when he was here. Take someone very selfless to understand like what they need, divorce the emotions, and just put your team in the best possible position to win. Brad has done that.
By the way, quick shout out to Mike Zarin, Austin Ainge too as well, because this feels like a front office war just in general.
All the pieces, there are so many people that work over there now, Allison Feaster, Dave Lewin, like everybody has a role in this. And it was notable that Brad, in his press release today, made sure to speak on that everybody on that staff deserves credit because he's the only one getting an award this year.